Hi, welcome to WCA Extra. This is our live desk streaming show that goes off about 9:15 every morning. Today we're talking about a tornado touchdown in Lyme, New Hampshire. Adam Sullivan was out there earlier this week looking at some of that storm damage left in its wake. Adam, first of all, good morning.
Morning. Good to see you, John.
Good to see you. And just kind of kicking us off here, you were there yesterday. As far as this touchdown goes, what was some of that damage that you're seeing and the cleanup? What's the scene looking like that we saw yesterday?
Yeah, it was a lot of damage. Over 100 trees and 2 homes were directly impacted. Luckily, when it comes to actual property damage, it was fairly minimal. I think, as you'll see in the video, with 2 huge trees laying across the roof of your house still, that homeowner might not agree that it's minimal damage, but relatively unscathed as far as property damage goes. But as I said, more than 100 trees. The National Weather Service did confirm that an EF1 tornado touchdown in Lyme, New Hampshire, top speeds of 110 miles an hour, and the length of the tornado touchdown was just a little under 2 miles. So a very localized event, but it certainly packed a punch, John.
Yeah, and I think some I guess a silver lining here, some good news. No injuries, correct?
Yep, no injuries, just a bunch of trees, and also, as we'll see in the video, a barn, sort of at the beginning of where this tornado formed, a barn was moved completely off its foundation. But again, that's property damage. We can live without our things, but humanity and humans are much more important, and luckily, no injuries.
Yeah, no, of course. And, at the height of this, too, I know you've mentioned outages. Just how many outages, again, as far as what people had to, get their power back on? That was just about how
these thunderstorms, as we reported and, warning the public, these thunderstorms, rolled through across the region, and most of them hit in the southern and central part of New Hampshire. I know we had some storms obviously roll across Vermont as well. But as far as New Hampshire goes, I think roughly 14,000, 15,000 customers were without power at the height of all the outages. But crews were out almost immediately and worked to repair most of those lines by the next morning. But one of the reasons why in Lyme, New Hampshire, why power was out as long as it was basically because crews had already dispatched to the southern part of the state. So they had to, the folks in Lyme had to wait a little bit, but they're doing all right now.
Absolutely. And Adam, one thing I wanted to touch on, too, that was kind of really interesting part of your story here is, some of these people were saying some of that damage was really localized. There could be a part of their property that, was pretty torn up, but then a couple yards away, it's unscathed. Can you kind of touch on that? Did you see any of that firsthand, or?
Well, the emergency management director for Lyme, Mike Hensley, who we'll hear from coming up in the story, he actually lives in the area. And when the storms, they mobilized before the tornado actually touched down because they knew something was a little bit off with the storm. But he was saying that on one side of his house, blue skies, completely calm. On the other side of the house, black, and the winds were whipping and the rains were picking up and lightning and whatnot. So literally, it depended on where you stood on the road. That's where the damage went. But again, the actual tornado, according to the National Weather Service, about 1.8 miles in this stretch of Whipple Hill Road in Lyme, New Hampshire. And if you were in the stretch, trees toppled. If you were not in the stretch, like literally 100 yards later to the south, as I was driving away from the damage, there's a little pond with canoes and kayaks. And there were lawn chairs that were still set up in position, light lawn chairs you could pick up and bring to the beach. So the wind didn't knock over the lawn chairs, but they took out, as I said, more than 100 trees.
Yeah, definitely. It almost sounds to me bizarre, but definitely it's thankful that not a lot of no one's hurt and the damage is localized to that area. But Adam,
it's bizarre, John,
yeah.
and it's also we're talking northern New England with mountains and bunch of hills. You wouldn't actually think that we'd get this sort of weather action that you'd see more in the Great Plains, but clearly the tornadoes are something that happened in northern New England as well.
Yeah, my last job was in Iowa, so I thought the tornadoes were behind me, but evidently we're still seeing them here. And but Adam, thanks so much for hopping on. Again, we'll show you that story in just a minute here. I think we also have a different view of the tornado. We'll pop that up too. But Adam, I know you probably
good to see you, John.
I got a busy day ahead of you, so I'll let you go.
Yep, thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much. That was our Adam Sullivan, again, recapping some of the look of a tornado that touched down in Lyme, New Hampshire there. And, he has a look at that damage. We'll pull up his story in just a sec here and get you guys a look at that. So let me just get this queued up, and we'll get moving on it.
Another powerful storm leaves its mark on the region. This one touching down in Lyme, New Hampshire, toppling power lines and more than 100 trees. The sound of chippers will likely be heard on the Whipple Hill Road in Lyme for the next several days. Tom Heitzman knew something was wrong Tuesday night when the wind quickly started to pick up.
The leaves that are usually falling down, the big limbs and things, they were going up in the air. It was like Wizard of Oz.
This is what those high winds left behind. Huge trees across the roof of his home and more limbs scattered about his yard.
The trees all went down at once like matchsticks.
It was literally over like that. Just up the road, more than 100 trees fell in Brett Burleson's yard. Most completely missed his house, doing no significant property damage.
All the trees just laying over in like a circular, I could tell the wind was going in a circular pattern.
Local resident Tony Pippin took this video of the storm showing what appears to be a funnel cloud. The National Weather Service was called in to investigate.
We're in contact with the state of New Hampshire emergency management.
First responders say what was striking about this storm was how localized the damage was.
Gardens with the lupin seeds are still intact on the top, and then on the other side of the driveway, there's a 3-foot locust that's uprooted and on a house.
At the bottom of the hill, high winds pushed this barn roughly 20 feet to the east. Thankfully, no one was injured in the storm.
It came through like a bomb. I mean, it was in and out fast and just did a lot of damage.
At the height of the outages, the state's largest utility reported more than 14,000 customers without power, and for most, their electricity has been restored. Reporting from Lyme, New Hampshire, Adam Sullivan, Channel 3 News.
Again, that was our Adam Sullivan talking about some of that storm damage in Lyme, New Hampshire. This is actually video sent in to us of that same tornado by Nick Hutchins. And you can see it's a little bit of movement on the clouds, but I guess I'll hand it over to a little more of an expert here, Jess Langlois. Jess, kind of run me through some of this stuff. I just help me out here.
Right, so we're looking at that video, and so Nick said that this was taken just south of Post Pond before the storm headed down Clay Brook, for anyone who's familiar with the Lyme, New Hampshire area, which is looking at the preliminary data from the National Weather Service right before the point where the storm actually produced the tornado touchdown. And if you look at this video, you can see where this storm is rotating there, and it's close, like it wants to make contact with the ground, but look especially into this area in here. You can see how that's rotating. This whole section is basically, rotating here, and based on this point in the video, it really doesn't look like it's quite making contact with the ground, but certainly moments before that happened, which is cool to see. And then I just want to point out this is the data that we have so far of the storm survey that the National Weather Service did yesterday. It's still preliminary data. There's a couple of pieces that we're waiting on the final report, but they did say that storm was an EF1 with maximum wind speeds estimated 110 miles per hour, 1.8 mile path length there, and it was on the ground for about 7 minutes. So it was, touched down really right around the spot where that video was taken, and then moved north there for about 7 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just it seems like we're really inundated with a lot of severe weather coverage the last few days. I know you can definitely speak on that yourself. But I guess moving forward now, it seems like we're almost out of the woods here. You know what I mean? We had a little bit of rain yesterday. It was rain beginning of the week. Give me some good news.
Well, thankfully, we have good news today. It seems like a while since we've had some of that. But today especially is when we're finally going to notice that it is much nicer outside. I mean, I ran out to get some breakfast right before this.
Yeah.
And it was like night and day already in Burlington compared to when I came in this morning. I'm like, I have the windows down, the wind in my hair.
It's nice when you can't, like, you're not wearing the humidity, really.
It's so comfortable out there now. Some spots still waiting on that. The lower dew points, you know, they're working in from the west. So New York, the Champlain Valley, we have those now, and the rest of us will see that later on today. And we're not worried about the rain anymore. We're not worried about the storms, the heat. So I think we can all, at least for the next 5 days or so, just kind of take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And enjoy what really Vermont summers, I think, what we all want them to be.
Yeah, it's definitely been about time as far as, you know, just taking a breather at this point. But Jess, thanks, and I don't know if you want to dive into another part of your forecast. Here we go.
Yeah,
all right, what can you tell me?
Well, it's already a lot nicer out there. I mean, it's 74 in Burlington right now. Look at all that sunshine. This is the view from our tower camera in South Burlington. And if you're watching this morning, we were talking about how the dew point was 60. It's down to 55. That makes a difference. And recently, we've had those dew points, you know, mid-60s, low 70s. Wind is out of the northwest, so that refreshing air is moving in already. And, you know, we've been tracking this cold front that's been moving through the area, and behind it is where we have that more comfortable air. So generally speaking, you know, we have this area of high pressure across the upper Midwest. There is this, if you look kind of north of us, this little disturbance right here that is kind of trying to slide through this afternoon. We get clipped by that. It really doesn't do much besides bring maybe some fair weather clouds, very low chance for a sprinkle, but overall this area of high pressure is what dominates our weather going into the weekend, which is going to keep things nice. There's still a few more clouds across southern Vermont and to this part of the day, but really we're seeing a good window of sunshine now across northern New York, a lot of Vermont, even into northern New Hampshire. You can see some of those clouds that are kind of going to clip us this afternoon. And temperatures are generally in the 70s right now. We have some mid-60s in Saranac Lake, mid-70s now in Burlington, Lebanon, Springfield, still holding on to some mid-70s. Most other spots in the lower 70s right now. But the big difference from west to east really is the dew point. So similar temperature right now in Burlington and Lebanon, but the dew point in Burlington is 55, in Lebanon it's 67. So it still feels very humid in the Upper Valley, the Connecticut River Valley, even parts of the Northeast Kingdom. Rutland, Bennington still feel very humid. Meanwhile, Burlington, Plattsburgh, Saranac Lake, even Newport now feels really nice out. And so we're going to see that more comfortable air continue to move to the east as the day goes on. So by early this afternoon, should be really comfortable area-wide, straight on through the evening. And another thing we can look forward to tonight is you can open up the windows and let some fresh air in. I mean, hopefully you've had AC. If anyone hasn't had AC through this is brutal. But I know I'm excited to give my electric bill a break and get some fresh air. And certainly with these dew points in the upper 40s to lower 50s, that's kind of where we can expect temperatures to bottom out in spots as well. So we might actually see a few upper 40s temperature-wise in the Adirondacks and the Northeast Kingdom. And we stay comfortable into Friday as well. And I do want to extend this out a little bit longer here. So you can see we're kind of looking at the dew point trend coming way down over the course of the day today from humid to comfortable. And we pretty much stay in that comfortable range for the most part through the weekend, early next week, and then it starts kind of creeping back up towards Wednesday. But we have a long time to enjoy. So here's this afternoon. We're starting to get clipped by that weak disturbance. That's what these little green dots are here. Maybe a slight increase in clouds, partly cloudy, chance for an isolated sprinkle, but really we're looking to stay dry. We clear out completely overnight as high pressure really builds in, and then that will allow us a clear, cool, calm night. Some areas of river valley fog possible into Friday morning, but that clears off, mostly sunny into the afternoon, and we stay nice and clear overnight Friday into Saturday morning, starting out with a lot of sunshine. And then really it isn't until Saturday evening we're then tracking this cold front that comes through. Again, we're not expecting much with this. If we see a few showers, it would probably be overnight, so the daytime hours of both Saturday and Sunday are looking pretty good, which again we're looking forward to a weekend that we can enjoy around here and not be sweating or dodging severe weather and this afternoon, I mean, this is the nicest day we've had in a long time, where it's not going to be too humid. Most of us top out in the 70s, maybe some lower 70s in the Saranac Lake area. Most spots mid to upper 70s. Still could see a few low 80s in this corridor from Lebanon down to Brattleboro. This is the section that's been seeing days and days of 90s. I mean, Lebanon hit 12 days in a row of 90 plus, which is all-time record, smashes the old record by 8 days. So those spots in particular really need the break from the humidity, and thankfully that's what we're going to get. So we'll have that refreshing night tonight, and then we stay that way Thursday, Friday into Saturday is pretty good as well. Saturday starts nice and dry. We're tracking those showers, Saturday night into Sunday. And behind that cold front, we're a bit cooler for Sunday, but very comfortable. And Monday's looking good. Tuesday, we're looking at the chance for this warm front to be lifting north. So that's when we start to see the chance for some showers or storms back in. Depending on the timing of that, it could be more Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, or it could hold off until closer to Wednesday. But regardless, by midweek, it's looking a bit more humid and unsettled. But really, there's a lot of days before then. Just focus on the nice weather and just taking a break from the weather.
Yeah, it's nice, especially in the past few weeks where we feel like I have our foot in the gas. It's nice to ease up a little bit and have some nice weather that we can kind of enjoy too, especially kind of smack dab in the middle of summer here.
It is, yeah.
So, Jess, thanks so much, and thank you for watching WCAX Extra. Of course, you can see Jess and I on Channel 3 at noon, as well as WCAX.com, and all of our evening shows. But I think with that in mind, we'll let you guys go, get your morning started, and we'll see you back in just a couple hours here. So, see you around.